Hi, and thanks so much for joining me today. We're talking about this palette by Guerlain, so if you'd like to hear about that, please keep watching. So this palette is limited edition. There are many products that have just come out by Guerlain, but this was the one that I was interested in. So this one has a contour, a bronzer, a blush, and a highlight. Right away, there is a fragrance to it. So it has kind of a powdery, perfumey kind of scent. It has dissipated. I've had this for a few weeks now. It has dissipated a little, but it's still present. So I smell it when I open the container. So if you're sensitive to smells, then think about it if you are interested in this. When I put it on my face, though, I don't really smell it. So that's not an issue for me, but it has a very distinct powdery fragrance about it. This is a little bit light for me, so I'm going to try it on for you and you can see what it looks like. I'll go ahead and try the contour, bronzer, blush, and highlight. And I do have all of these on right now, all 4 shades, so let's go ahead and see what the application looks like. I'm going to go in with the contour color first. And for contour, when I really contour, I use this brush. It's the Ray Morris Ultimate Cheekbone Brush. And if you haven't seen this before, it's a great one. It's a little bit pricey, but it's hard to find something this shape. So I just take a little bit here on this short end and I place it in the contour and then just place it right under the cheekbone in that hollow and swipe. So this deposits color right here and then it kind of buffs it out as you go this way. So if you haven't used this brush before, usually if I use the Kevyn Aucoin contour powder, it's very dense, so it doesn't take this much. This is taking a little bit of buildup here. So as you can see, there's a warmth to it, which I prefer with my coloring. Okay, so you can see the difference, which is why I love this. It's very precise. And I'm gonna go in and buff this with the bronzer in a little bit so it won't be so harsh. Okay, next we're gonna go in with the bronzer. And I'm going to take a new brush here. I'm gonna take the Marc Jacobs bronzer brush, the bronze, which I've been loving. I'm gonna load this up because it's kind of hard to build on this one, I noticed. This is not as deep as the deeper bronzer that I have. It's more like the medium shade in that trio. I'll link that video below. So this is a bit light for me. Yeah, this is going to take a little bit more work to build it up, and it's not as warm. It's a little bit cooler actually than the one that I currently use. I'm going to use that to blend this in though. I'm actually going to add this a little bit further down on my forehead because it's looking kind of pale right now. Now let's move along to the blush. Now this shares the pan, the blush and the highlighter, so you'll need a brush that'll get in there, and that's the only tricky part. I thought that these were pretty good size, so this will take a more narrow brush, and I'm using a Ray Morris Deluxe Kabuki here. I love this one for blush. Again, I'm noticing that it takes a little work, so it's a slow buildup on this. But it's very pretty. It has some shimmer in it. Very fine shimmer. When I do blush these days, I'm preferring it in a little bit of a wider area and kind of blending that into this lower area. Usually I keep it high here, but it's been kind of nice to blend it in a larger shape. Okay, and finally, I'm gonna take the highlighter. I'm gonna take my Kevyn Aucoin brush. It's a big fan brush. Again, it's a little tricky getting in there, but just make sure your brush is narrow enough. Like a medium shimmer on that. Not too bold in terms of the intensity of the highlighter. And of course, here we are, all of them on. Looking at this, they are all very subtle. They work really well together, but I think it's suited for someone with a little bit more of a fair skin tone. If they had this like in a deeper version, I think it would be better. The contour is a warm shade. So know that if you're looking for a warm contour, this is a good one. If you like the cool contour like the Kevyn Aucoin medium, this is very different from that. So if you like that one, you probably won't like this shade, but if you don't like that medium one, now I like that Kevyn Aucoin in medium sometimes. I think it does a really nice job of creating a shadow that looks like the color of a shadow because it is a little bit cooler, but this is definitely warm. So if that's too cool for you, this might work for you. They went on really smoothly though. It did take a little bit of blending, which I used this bronzer for. Now the bronzer is a little bit cool, actually, cooler than what I'm typically used to, and it was difficult to show up on my skin tone. Again, I think it's a shade issue for me. I think it blended really nicely. It just needs to be a bit darker for me. So as for the blush and highlight, I think they're very beautiful. I think it's very tastefully done in terms of the level of shimmer in both of these, although I also feel like there are many similar products out there like these. It just depends on your level of shimmer that you want in both of these. The shades are easy to find in other lines, but it's just the degree of shimmer, and this one is very refined. So if other blushes and highlighters are too much for you in terms of how shimmery they are, this might be a good one for you because it is very it's very beautiful and it's harder to detect. So this is a very nice palette, but I think it all comes down to your coloring. I think that this is a very warm contour, unusual for many contours out there. This bronzer is a little bit too light for me, so if you are my shade or deeper, this might not show up as well on you. So if you are lighter than me though, this is promising. And then I think anyone can use this blush and highlight. It's really pretty. Like I said, I think I'll be using this most out of the whole palette, but since they come all together, I might use this more as a bronzer though, and then maybe use this as an eyeshadow. I think I would repurpose this. I mean, I don't return things in general, so I will use this. So I think that's how I'm gonna use it. Eyes, bronzer, and then just skip the whole contour thing and then actually use this blush and highlighter. I think those are really pretty. But let's see, now that I've said that, I'm just gonna take my bronzer brush and put it in that contour color. And let's see if we can, let's see, might as well. Yeah, right away, this is looking so much better as a bronzer. So I think that contour is definitely a better bronzer for me than a contour. So that's also how you can use it if you already have it and you're my coloring. So definitely use this more as a bronzer if you are my skin tone, because that is, yeah, that's much better. Again, this is limited edition, so if you were interested in it, I hope that information helped you out. So if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.